who are all these different people that you're seeing compared to, your partner who is developing their thought leadership perspectives, and they are sharing value on a constant basis. They look at the numbers and they understand that one is doing something over another one. I think there'll be one that will stay and there'll be one that goes, and that's just the reality of it. Content Crib Podcast, we're back.
What's up, Eric? I love the hat.
Thank you. It's brand new. The Influence Strategies Group official swag has arrived. So it's exciting. It turned out great. And Chris and I, through this journey together, have found out that we both have heads bigger than anybody else on the planet. So, except for Scott Zolak, and
Yep.
that's an inside joke, everybody. But anyway, that the hats are here. They're going to fit both of us, and stay tuned. We're gonna have lots more swag coming out, and it's I guess you're official when you have swag. I don't know.
We are, yeah. We're definitely official. You were telling me something very interesting about a post you made. Dive into that.
Yeah, so I made a post that really kind of stirred a bunch of people, to DM me and messages and texts and all kinds of different things. Essentially, I just said that there's going to be the day, if you're a physician, and especially you need to listen to it also if you're a medical device company, but primarily if you're a physician, and there's going to be the day that people are, well, the day is here. You walk out into your living room and you go, hey, Alexa, my back hurts, and on my left-hand side, and I have this, and this going on, and I have this I've done, and I've taken all these different things. Who should I go see? And that gatekeeper, and I called it the toll booth, is going to send you to exactly where they want you to go. As AI is going to do it, and it's not like the old days of Google and SEO, and it's real. And ChatGPT is going to start steering people because it's not going to analyze it because of the amount of money that you spent on advertising or SEO or Google AdWords. It's going to drill down on exactly who this is, exactly the results that you want, the people who focus on these things. But you don't want your patients going to do that. They want to know you well before they meet you. And that's what I was just talking about, thought leadership and, personal branding and all of these different things. Those things need to be top of mind right now for you if you're a physician. And as a medical device company, the same exact thing. Our organization has a new product out that's a CMC arthroplasty that's called Touch, that came from Europe. And I mean, it's, pickleball players that can't grab a pickleball paddle anymore are calling left and right, trying to be able to get their hands on Touch. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, we need someone talking about that on LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's going to be interesting because as we all move forward, and the days of Google SEO, that's why Google is scared to death of what can occur, and what is occurring right now is Google still obviously Google SEO is happening left and right out there, but what's driving more and more traffic and more visitors is ChatGPT, Alexa, and it's coming even more so. Siri is going to start telling people, where to go. So you need to identify where, how you look in that formula.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Nobody tells healthcare professionals, I mean, I guess besides us, but your expertise means nothing if nobody knows you have it, right? And like you're saying, all these other channels to get your product or your service out there, you're more talking services for physicians, but people need to know, and there's where people are hanging out is where we talk about you can use your voice and get it out there. And I don't understand why personal branding is so weird for people in healthcare, but I think it's because people are just terrified of looking like that guy that's selling like weight loss shakes or funny procedures, or I don't know. I mean, but to me, bottom line is trust is built in public and deals are closed in private. So get that, get your voice out there, get your ideas out there, be controversial, talk about, all the amazing things you're doing. I don't care how niche it is, and you'll start to get a little bit of a following, and it's that easy. It just takes a little bit of guidance.
Yeah, and just provide value. That's all what you got to
Yeah.
do, and on a constant, to have that as something is your number one thought is I'm going to provide value every time I, send a video, newsletter, whatever that may be. And it's I don't think, I talk to physicians all the time who are in large IDNs or they're in big groups, and they go, "Oh yeah, well they take care of that. Well, they take care of this or they take care of that." Well, if you're at the end of your contract and they go and they look and they say, "Well, how many patients have you brought in this amount of time, and who are new patients into your, and who are all these different people that you're seeing compared to, your partner who is developing their thought leadership perspectives, and they are sharing value on a constant basis." They look at the numbers and they understand that one is doing something over another one. I think there'll be one that will stay and there'll be one that goes, and that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, and and to me, like when I think about this and when we talk about this, I'm always thinking of like strategy or execution tips that we can give people that are listening. And if I'm a physician and I just want to get started, I think it's really easy to break it down in the pillars. Talk about clinical insights, share what you're seeing in your practice, share what different things that you're doing. you know Peptides are super hot right now. Some orthopedic surgeons are getting into it. I'm talking to them all the time, trying to learn more about it. Talk about that. Here's what I see when some of my patients are using these approved peptides. Here's what they're seeing when I hear about people using unapproved, they're buying online. Like, talk about some of those controversial topics. you know Pillar 2, professional development. What are you learning? What has changed your approach? What new device, pickleball device that you started using has opened up a new pathway to patients that may have never even come into my office, right? And then maybe 3, which I think is probably the most important part, is behind the curtain. Share what people would never really normally hear about from your Google reviews, or you do get a lot of good information for Google reviews, but there's other things that you're doing behind the curtain that people want to learn about. Share how you make decisions, in a clinical aspect, how you chose one vendor for a device from another, or just like interesting ways on how your thought process works. That kind of builds that trust with the patients and people you're attracting to. And it may not just be patients, it may be opportunities in a clinical clinical leader, or key opinion leader for different healthcare companies, device companies, pharmaceutical companies, etc.
Yeah, well said. And it's obviously it's your outward message, your value that you're portraying to the public. And if you're making the decision, actively making the decision that, and I'm going to have somebody else share that value. I'm going to have somebody else develop what that looks like, which is fine if you're doing it, as long as you have as long as you have input into how that looks and what that is going to be portrayed. Great. But if you're just somebody who doesn't do anything in thought leadership, doesn't utilize any of these different tools whatsoever, the time is going to come when people are going to go, you know what, we need to go in this direction. And hopefully you're going in that direction. But I can tell you, and with the conversations that I have with several physicians, whether that's in, surgeons or whatever kind of different specialty, there's a whole lot of them that aren't doing it.
Yeah, and then you're leaving that up to people to do that for you, right? They're already picking your lane for you and what you do and what you do well. You're not really having control over it if you're not doing it yourself.
Yeah, and I get it. I totally get it. I know why people say, well, you know what, they all handle that. And I've got so many patients now. I got plenty of patients. I don't have to worry about this whatsoever. And things change. Times change, contracts with hospitals change. I know a group where 65% of their revenue went away overnight because some contracting / insurance issues that went on, and they just made the conscious decision that we're going to have to start from scratch in these different areas, and they did. And the way they did it was they shared their thought leadership with the world, and that changed. They different specialties got right on there and started talking in video form of exactly why they did what they do, why they ended up selecting different things and different pathways and things of that nature.
And I think it's important to talk about the attribution game, because people are always, well, how do I measure this? How do I see if it's successful? Well, there's two ways. People will literally tell you, I saw your post about pickleball surgery.
Yep.
Can we talk?
Yeah.
Track those conversations as you start to build your brand, if you start to do it, and keep a running note of every inbound that references the content. It's more than people think. That's kind of your direct way you can attribute it. Indirectly, halo effect. When you're on a discovery call and they're already like building that trust, that's that content working because they've been marinating in your expertise for weeks, months, maybe a year or longer. And that sales process has started before, well before the call. And I see that all the time with the content that I make about, any sort of healthcare topic, and people want to connect with me. It's like we've already, had a conversation in our first conversation because they're asking about things that I've, talked about online, and they respect my opinion on it. And you just started this podcast by talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if you're a device company or pharmaceutical company, or somebody who's in the world of, obviously selling their products to patients, it blows my mind. Again, I don't think the route of making a bigger picture at the trade show booth is the way to go anymore, but they still do it, and they repeatedly will do it. Consumers, I think you put it perfectly like 3 or 4 podcasts ago. Consumers are the smartest they've ever been. They know exactly what they want, and they know where they can get it. Now they want where they get it is now who the person's going to deliver that to them. They're researching who that's going to be. And if they have no idea who you are, they have no idea what you do or why you do it, why would they choose you?
Yeah, and there's other ideas that you can do to start off, and another one that I just thought of while you were talking is like partnership strategies, like people that are in your space. You want to do a LinkedIn Live or like a podcast with, and I keep talking about this pickleball stuff because you started off, it's so popular, and that device that you have, and it's just a relevant example, I guess.
Yeah.
Partner with a pickleball company that's in your market or looking at the same base of potential clientele, and do a LinkedIn Live and talk about popular things and injuries and how you help. And people are going to tune into that and be like, wow, like, first of all, I need to buy that pickleball paddle, and second of all, if I get injured or need assistance in reach or whatever that device does, and at least I know I can find this doctor in Florida.
Yes, Chris, that's an excellent idea. We should share that. I'm laughing because, we talk to people about that all the time, that, this is something that you should do. And here you framed it perfectly. Why somebody isn't doing that, I don't know. There's some guys down in South Florida who, have talked a little bit about it, but man, if there's somebody who could be the pickleball maven or whatever that may be,
yeah, even if it's a facility,
yeah,
like get on the call with them and a podcast or a live, and just talk about what's happening.
right.
You don't need it to be, I get it. It's hard getting a camera in on video for the first time or the first few times. Trust me, I understand that. But you just talk about what you're seeing. It doesn't have to be anything sort of super prepared.
No.
There's audience and people want to follow it.
Yeah. Well, and you're exactly right. There are people who, I heard some crazy stat in this week, something like pickleball injuries are now $700 million in revenue or something, some crazy thing like that. Um, and it's growing exponentially, which, you get people who are out of shape and running around a court. That's what's going to happen. Um, if, if I was a surgeon listening to us right now, I would DM us or message us, and we can definitely kind of point you in the right direction on how that may look or how that works.
Yeah, and that's why we exist, right? To help them do that.
Yeah.
We'll give as many tips as we can, but some people need a little bit extra help, and that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well said. Yeah. No, I will say this. I think, again, right to the beginning when we started talking about the AI toll gate or the AI toll booth, it's real, it's happening. You're going to have to, but you shouldn't be scared of it. You should understand that you want people to know what you do and what, well before they decide to go and ask Siri or ask Alexa or whoever they're going to ask. Because I do know this is that, people are saying this right now. Well, my patients are 60 and up, or my patients are 65 and up. Let me tell you, I went into an office the other day because I had to do something for a surgeon. There was multiple people who appeared to be over the age of 60, all on their phone, and several of them were scrolling through social media. I actually I came home and told my wife about it because I was like, this is amazing. I think 5 years ago you wouldn't have seen anything like that. Literally 95% of them were doing it. Now that's on one level kind of sad for society that they weren't talking to each other, but that's where your patients are. So you've got to be able to get to them.
Yeah, and then I think that you can kind of think about content that converts to those sales calls, and that, or if you don't call them sales calls, or you call them patient calls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, have a post. Have a call to action. DM me if you want the full protocol template. Drop a comment if you're dealing with this pickleball injury. Want to see what's going on out there. There's ways to get people involved and talking about what you're talking about, and start to really build that community. What you're specializing in. What I'm seeing in every conversation that I've had with like every doctor and what I do in terms of customized medicine and brand building, or just in general, is everybody wants to get out of institutional medicine and start on their own because they have the talent to do it, and they're sick of being controlled.
Yeah.
Everybody, not like a few. Everybody has a dream, and they all know that what I do can, in terms of customized medicine, is a great tool to get that going, and then learn a new space like longevity or optimization, and it's so popular right now. And there's so many offshoots from it. You don't just have to be one cookie cutter like everybody else is doing. You could, be a neurosurgeon that jumps into it with your own spin, or, like Dr. Towson's doing with orthopedics and wants to, movement is motion and all that. She can obviously speak on it much better than I can, but, there's all these different ways to go. But bottom line is, you're no longer just like checking off a clipboard or, typing into a DOS Windows with your patients that are coming in that are, set up for you through the institution. You need to go find those patients yourself. You can find a marketing company and pay them. You can find someone that's going to promise you a bunch of patients, or you could start building your own audience yourself and then maybe work in something like that. To me, I really would think that with the fact that it's very much less money and much more targeted to create your own voice with meaningful business that can come in. I mean, that's where you start.
Yeah. Well, and I'll just piggyback on that. Do yourself a huge favor. If you're listening to this right now, don't go and pay some generic social media company to tell you, oh, I'm going to get you 1 million views. Newsflash, they have these bot farms, and they tell them all to go out and look at your social media, and you'll get no traction. And I know that's a dirty little secret out there, but that's what happens. They send out messages to all these bot farms. They pay them money, and they go out and they look at your stuff, and you're not getting any traction whatsoever. None.
Nope.
So, you may want to talk to somebody who actually knows what they're doing. That's what we do at ISG, or you can talk to, or just start doing it yourself, because what you're doing is your genuine message. But anyway, that's my little warning for today. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. And the other issue is now you're competing directly with AI. So, when I say AI, not just long form content that people are putting out, but I don't know if you're seeing on Instagram all these fake podcasts and fake people on stages that look so real.
Yeah.
That have you seen these?
Oh yeah.
They look so real, but you can still tell they're not. But they're getting tons of engagement. How in the comments no one's saying this is fake? I don't know if they're filtering it. Like, it's insane to me.
Yeah. Oh, like, they're filtering it. Yeah. I have some inside knowledge on some of this stuff that they're doing, and it's all curated. And these bot farms are deleting comments that say, "Hey, nice AI video, loser." That kind of. If somebody comments that, they get rid of it.
That's got to be it, because I'm like trying to find it. I'm like, because I'm somehow sucked in on my algorithm, and for Instagram is like these veterinarian doctors with like cat tattoos on their neck talking about like how my cats act on stage, but it's not real. Like, it's fake.
No, I haven't seen. No.
Have you seen this?
No.
You're gonna get it now if your phone's right next to you.
I know.
We'll see.
No, Chris.
You'll see. He kind of looks like Cody Grammer, but with a cat tattoo on his neck.
Well, I was told that Instagram and Facebook don't listen to you. That's all just a myth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
I know exactly. Um, yeah, no, I have not seen those, yeah, I see all kinds of different ones. Especially these self-help guru things. I've got this steady stream of ads coming through my social media now on Instagram and others, and all they say is, we can get you 1 million views guaranteed. And I'm like, it's not people are interested in what you have to say. It's the bot farm in some far out land where they tell them, hey, everybody go to this, Instagram reel and watch all this, or Facebook reel. Well, I guess we have cured the world of AI driven cat lady videos.
Yep, and you better mail those hats today because I'm so jealous.
I will get them in the mail. They will be on your way. And
No, you don't have to do that today. It's Friday after 2. I wouldn't want to go to the post office right now.
well,
It can go next
that's
week.
a good point. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I do have to go to the DMV later, so that's even worse. So anyway,
Oh, that.
I don't know. I didn't. How I got. Well, I got a to-do list, and somehow that entered on the to-do list from somebody who will remain anonymous. My wife. Anyway, we'll this should be out in a few weeks, and on to the next one.
Awesome.
I'll talk to you.